non-accountability for the crimes of January 6th at the root of the chaos in Congress. You know, Kevin McCarthy is humiliated now, the first speaker in history. He's trying to blame this on Democrats, by the way. I mean, you know, he's wondering why not a single Democrat voted to keep him as Speaker of the House. Could be because the night before he went on Fox News and said, oh, yeah, this is all the Democrats' fault. I mean, he's been blaming Democrats left and right. Now he's trying to do it again for everything that has happened wrong. And now Patrick McHenry, the guy who has taken his place as Speaker pro tem, the temporary Speaker, has kicked both Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer out of their offices, or out of their cubby holes. They've got these little kind of retreat places in the basement of the Capitol building. I've been in them for a couple of members of Congress. And they're actually kind of a status symbol. And they get used. They get used a lot. But it's just remarkable what's going on here. And the consequence of this, and this is by being done principally by Matt Gaetz, a bizarre congressman from Florida who's under investigation right now by the House Ethics Committee for sex trafficking minor girls in Florida. But I can tell you who's winning here. Who's winning is Putin and Xi and MBS and basically the people who don't want or are not happy about the United States being or continuing to be, to the extent that you can say that we are, a functioning democracy. The autocrats of the world are very happy with this. Putin is loving this. You know, Trump mandated it to his members, to his followers in Congress, because this is what Putin wants. Shut down the government or make it impossible to govern. That way you're never going to get money spent, you know, any more money going to Ukraine. And it's not just that. I mean, this week student loan payments are back turned on. So you're going to see that as a major drag on our economy. The child tax credit and support for daycare both expired this month, doubling child poverty in the United States in 1 month and provoking the closure of as many as 70,000 preschool facilities. Aid to Ukraine is running out, and the Republicans are doing nothing about this. And why is all this happening? Well, I would argue, and, you know, love to hear your thoughts on this, you know, feel free to argue with me, but I would argue that this is because for the first 2 years when Democrats controlled Congress, we did have the January 6th committee, but Liz Cheney did everything in her power to prevent that committee from focusing any of its attention on Republicans in the House or Senate, because she needed the help of those Republicans in the House and Senate. She still thought that there was a chance that she had a political future, that, you know, maybe they would damage Trump enough, you know, quack, quack, quack. But that's, you know, clearly very, very much not what's going on here. Steve Scalise just came into the floor of the House of Representatives. There's talk about having him replace Kevin McCarthy. He's been getting cancer treatment, so he's wearing a heavy-duty, you know, N95 mask or whatever you call it, into Congress. This is the guy. He's number 2 in leadership. This is the guy who once described himself. He's a congressman from Louisiana. Once described himself as David Duke without the baggage. Seriously. Yeah, that's the guy. Oh, man. But anyhow, my point is that if the Republicans in the House of Representatives who helped with the insurrection had been investigated, outed, and prosecuted, many of them would not have made it through the 2022 election cycle. And many of them would not have ended up doing this to our government. That had Merrick Garland, during those first 2 years when he did apparently absolutely nothing, had he been investigating and prosecuting members of Congress, there's still, to the best of my knowledge, there has not even been an FBI inquiry. Barry Loudermill giving members of the public, well, apparently insurrectionists, one of them the following day, apparently went after the police with a sharpened flagpole. You know, the press reports are ambiguous, but it appears that that's the case. During the 2 years that the Democrats controlled the House and the Senate, you know, they got a lot done, but they didn't prosecute any Republicans. You know, they should be able to walk and chew gum at the same time, but apparently they think they can only do one or the other. I mean, you got Tommy Tuberville, who was in Trump's private spaces the night before January 6th. Has he been interviewed by the FBI? To the best of my knowledge, no. Congressman Barry Loudermilk giving tours on January 5th to people who would, in all probability, become insurrectionists. Rand Paul traveling alone to Russia to hand deliver a package of secret documents given to him by Trump to Putin or to Putin's intelligence officers. And then, supporting the insurrectionists and opposing aid to Ukraine, as Putin has asked for. You got Jared Kushner bringing top secret documents, the presidential's daily briefing, to Saudi Arabia. And in exchange for that, he gets a $2 billion finder's fee for helping MBS extract over $118 billion from his relatives. And whatever Matt Gaetz did around January 6th, it was enough that he begged Donald Trump for a preemptive pardon, along with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Paul Gosar, Mo Brooks, Andy Biggs, and Scott Perry. That would have been, the top of the hit list, the top hit parade if we're going to do an investigation. But no investigation. And like I said, Liz Cheney blocked the January 6th committee from looking into her colleagues. In fact, 15 staffers on the January 6th committee wrote just were furious, wrote an open letter about this. The Washington Post reported on it. This is 3 Washington Post reporters writing, quote, "They are angered and disillusioned by Cheney's push to focus the report primarily on former President Donald Trump and have bristled at the committee morphing into what they have come to view as a vehicle for the outgoing Wyoming lawmaker's political future. 15 former and current staffers who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss internal deliberations expressed concerns that important findings unrelated to Trump will not become available to the American public." I mean, I think that if the Republicans in Congress who participated in or were supportive of Donald Trump's coup attempt had been held to account, they wouldn't be doing this right now. Now, I may be wrong. I'll give you an opportunity to convince me that I am, but I think that this is very much the case. That what you're seeing here is a failure to be tough on crime by Democrats for 2 full years. And it's time for Democrats to get tough on crime and crack down on what's going on here. Chuck Schumer needs to appoint a committee in Washington, D.C. in the Senate. And Merrick Garland needs to appoint a special prosecutor, or he needs to expand the scope of Jack Smith's investigation to include members of Congress. What say you?